Session 14. Postmodernism and the Question of African Philosophy. Introduction. In this last study session, we will explore what postmodernism is. We will also discuss why postmodernism is so important to African philosophy and ideas. When you have studied this session, you should be able to 1. Define and use correctly the term postmodernism. 2. Discuss the relationship between philosophy and postmodernism. 3. Explain the views of African scholars to postmodernism. What is postmodernism? According to the root knowledge, companion to postmodernism, postmodernism is a wide-ranging cultural movement which adopts a skeptical attitude to many of the principles and assumptions that have been underpinned Western thought and social life. These assumptions include a belief in the power of reason. So what postmodernists are saying is that reason or rationality should no longer occupy such a high place after all. You recall that the main excuse Western scholars gave for abusing Africans and calling them subhuman is because those Western scholars claimed that Africans lacked reason, and that reason is the most important human possession. But again, let us realize that once again, postmodernism originated from the West. This time, they are completely reversing what they used to say that was the truth. However, we need to say more about postmodernism and how Africans have responded to it in the last decade or so. Philosophy and postmodernism. Philosophy. For a very long time, modern Western philosophers, beginning from Descartes, Locke, and Kant to the present day, put a lot of hope and emphasis on the power of philosophy as a privileged discipline. Philosophy was seen as the queen of the sciences, a position that gave philosophy the superior status in the intellectual field. Philosophy had the right to adjudicate in the claims of other disciplines, to question them about the foundations of their knowledge claims. In short, philosophy was seen as the supreme court of all ideas, where everyone must come and justify their claims. Philosophy claimed that there was such a thing as absolute and foundational knowledge. This certain and foundational knowledge is the basis of all knowledge. Of course, the way to finding or discovering this basic knowledge was through the power of reason. And the further claim was that reason itself was an exclusive attribute of the European man. The above depiction of knowledge and philosophy was used to deny Africans rationality, humanity, freedom, and everything else. Postmodernism. Now, postmodernism is the totality of the effect by some Western scholars to reverse all or most of the above claims. Richard Rorty, an American philosopher, was a major postmodernist writer. Rorty's main argument is that philosophy is ill-suited to perform the above listed tasks. This is because, like other disciplines, philosophy has its own basis. This is because, like other disciplines, philosophy has its own basis, beliefs, and assumptions, which in themselves need justifications. Rorty further contends that truth is relative. What is true at one point or a culture may not be true at some other point and culture. Therefore, truth is relative to social agreement or what everyone accepts in a society. The overall claim of Rorty is that truth, knowledge, and rationality have no universal essence or meaning. They could be interpreted, understood, and applied differently in diverse cultures the world over. It is therefore incorrect, in Rorty's view, to divide culture up into areas which represent reality well, those which represent less, and those which do not represent it at all. Going by Rorty's view, we can then define postmodernism as the view that no one culture is superior to the other, and that reason could not be the basis of excluding the people from humanity. Survey of African responses on postmodernism in Africa. As usual, there are opposing views concerning postmodernism in Africa. Some Africanist scholars have expressed criticism about the real intentions of Western postmodern scholars. They wonder why the Western scholars are now declaring the death of all subjects, at a point where Africans are now beginning to find their own subjects. Also, some other Africanist scholars are worried that if postmodernism is accepted, it might trivialize or make unimportant the truth of the historical fact that Europe plundered Africa. However, some African scholars see the matter differently. They see postmodernism as a continuation of the critical debates on African philosophy. In some of such views, postmodernism is accepted as a call to our analytical African philosophers who place much faith in the universal, critical, rational, and systematic method of philosophy, on the basis of which they dismiss the idea of a collective epistemology to rethink their position. Study session summary. In this study session, we learned that postmodernism is a movement which casts doubts on the traditional assumptions of Western society. It rejects the supremacy of reason and insists that no culture is superior to the other. Philosophy was presumed to play the role of the queen of all sciences, that is privileged to adjudicate on the knowledge claims of other disciplines. Richard Rorty's main view on postmodernism is that truth is relative to social agreement, and that philosophy's quest for certain foundational knowledge was wrong, misleading, and altogether impossible. Africanist scholars and philosophers respond to postmodernism in different ways. Some think it might be harmful to African interest, while others think it is an opportunity to establish African epistemology and philosophy on solid footing. End of study session 14 and end of PHI 207. Thank you for listening.